include on them a Cornhusker or Husker design. It shall have the colors of the team, and we get very specific. We tell the department what we mean. These plates, the only thing we're telling the department is that it shall somehow reflect support for Nebraska's children, and then we hint at it in the amendment that this has something to do with needy families or child abuse. My concern is that we should have an issue defined for us. If we are voting for a plate that is designed to encourage a woman to carry a pregnancy to term, let's say so. Not have one governor 1 year happen to be believe in discouraging an abortion, and another one believe something else in a subsequent year, and have that flip-flop discretion. If we are speaking and that intent is to carry pregnancies to term, then let's say so. What are we ashamed of? Why do we have to couch it in, well, support for children, and open up all those doors of what do we mean by children? And whether or not that includes something in the first 12 weeks of pregnancy. Why open those doors? Why are we being or trying to be clever? Let's vote on what we vote on and say what we mean or don't mean. License plates are something, believe it or not, that are looked at in other states, and we have very low population, and our license plates do not make it very far. And sometimes they carry a connotation which might have economic development or tourism connotations. I had a daughter who followed her mother to the University of Florida, and remember those red plates we had probably back around the year 2000? In that time period, it was supposed to, and we all thought it meant the Nebraska sunset. And it was red and glowing, and the way those plates were viewed at the University of Florida, one kid comes up to my daughter and said, you know, you're so lucky. You have one of those license plates from hell. And once you looked at it through that perspective, you kind of could see what this person saw. So people look at them. They're advertising
1 minute.
Billboards for the state. And I think the best thing I've heard today is what Senator Chambers said. We started down a path with these things. I think Senator Christ detected the path we started down, and we're probably going down the wrong path, diluting some of our advertising capacity that by having these message plates. They may make us feel good. They may be seen by us as being a specific message, but that does not necessarily mean they're consistent with a good economic development program for the state when we try to advertise in other states. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Shoemaker. Senator Pansy Brooks, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going back to talking about this and why I think it's a good idea to add the amendment to end rape culture. I have, and again, I'm against all of this. I don't think we need to go down the path of having government-sponsored speech on our cars, in our licenses. The Walker case, supposedly, that Senator Hilgers has said, I haven't read it yet, so I'm still working on that, but anyway, supposedly says that we can put whatever we want, and I think as policy we can, but is that a good idea? So again, I'm back to why I think it's important to end rape culture to that discussion. As long as we're going to start adding all sorts of speech, certainly people can't be against adding the words or a license plate that says end rape culture. So again, from 2009 to 2013, Child Protective Services found evidence to indicate that 63,000 children a year were victims of sexual abuse. The majority of the child victims are between the ages of 12 to 17. 34% of victims of sexual assault and rape are under the age of 12. 66% of the sexual assault and rape victims are ages 12 to 17. The age breakdown of victims is 15% between the ages of 12 to 17, 54% between the ages of 18 and 34, 28% between the ages of 35 to 64, and 3% above 65 years of age. 82% of juvenile victims are female. 90% of adult rape victims are female. You can tell why I really care about this. Females ages 16 to 19 are 4 times more likely than the general population to be victims of rape, attempted rape, or sexual assault. Females ages 18 to 24 who are college students are 3 times more likely than women in the general population to experience sexual violence. Only 20% of female victims in this age range report to law enforcement, while only 32% of non-student females in this age range report to law enforcement. Males, yes, males are also raped. Males ages 18 to 24 who are in college are 5 times more likely than non-student males of the same age to be victims of rape or sexual assault. 1 out of every 10 rape victims are male. Long-term effects of sexual assault: 94% of women who are raped experience post-traumatic syndrome disorder during 2 weeks following the rape. 30% of women with PTSD symptoms have them continue up to 9 months after the rape. I presume it's lifetime. 33% of women who are raped commit suicide. 13% of women who are raped attempt suicide. 33%. If there isn't something more important than putting state speech that says end rape culture, I can't think what it is. People who have been sexually assaulted are more likely than the general public to use drugs. They're 3.4 times more likely to use marijuana, they're 6 times more likely to use cocaine, and they're 10 times more likely to use other major drugs. Again, you know, I know that so many of you who aren't here today, of course, you're all off elsewhere. Many people in the chamber that care about this are gone. I know that you're being forced by certain groups to vote a certain way so that you can get your high percentage, and that's just great. Meanwhile, we have actual issues to deal with. We have actual issues about women getting raped, about children needing to be fed, about people living in poverty. But let's take